Hi! I want to use pretty background paper to make a two-layer card where the design continues from one layer onto the next. Love that look! So I thought, okay, what I need are two pieces of background paper that are the same because the top layer is going to cover most of the bottom layer. Well, I didn't care for that for a couple reasons. One, it sure seemed like a big waste of pretty background paper. And the second, I thought, oh boy, that's really going to be a bear trying to cut this top layer to line up perfectly with the back layer. Well, instead, I'm going to show you how you can easily get that look using just one sheet of background paper. After you learn how easy it is to create a two-layer card using one sheet of designer paper, well, you'll be able to use the same technique when you create your own background paper with rubber stamps. I'm Shelley Godby, the owner and CEO of Stamping Smiles, and for 17 years, I've been teaching others how to create their own hand-stamped smiles. For our two-layer card, I'm going to be using the beautiful Stampin' Up! Garden Impressions Designer Series paper. The Garden Impressions Designer Series paper, so pretty, comes in 6x6 sheets. So the first thing we're going to do is cut it down to fit our 5.5 by 4.25 inch card base. All right, so I'm going to use the Stampin' trimmer. Now, something to think about before you cut it, what part you want to be on your card. And I thought, oh, this will be really pretty. But I want to keep this part be able to use the flower and the leaves later. So I'm going to turn it and do our first cut for the 4 inch because I want that 1/4 inch smaller. So 4.25, we're going to cut this down to 4 inches and butt it up against here because that helps square it off, and then follow the lines. I'm putting that in the 4-inch line and right up to that line. Go ahead and close it. You can lock it in if need be. This is a big piece. I don't feel I need to. And there are two blades with the Stampin' trimmer. This is the dark gray is the cutting blade and the lighter is for scoring. All right, so we'll just go ahead and trim that right off. And look, I've left these two for later. Perfect. So we'll pick this up and rotate it. So 1/4 less than 5.5. We'll put this at, here's 5. There's the half mark, so right in between our 5.25. There we go. And you can cut from either direction, coming or going. Perfect. And so now this is going to fit our base. So normally we would start here and then you'd cut another one. I thought, okay, we're not doing that. That's going to be too wasteful. So what we're going to do is cut the center out. It's good. It's really easy to do, I promise. So when I set this on here, I've got a tip for you. I was looking. So what I need to do is, because this is 4 inches wide, so I'm going to place it at 3.5 because I want to leave a 1/2 inch border all the way around. Well, the Stampin' trimmer is really cool because you've got this pointer on here and you can trust that. So I'm going to put this on the 1/2 inch mark. Well, my paper, you know, beautiful, but a little bit busy. When I put it down, I couldn't see those marks so well. I thought, okay, we've got a fix for that. So here's what we're going to do. I've got some Whisper White cardstock. What I want is a 1/2 sheet of this. So I thought, well, I'll just cut that for you too. So I'm going to place it. The butt isn't there, you know, to butt it up against. This was just, like I said, a scrap piece. Don't you keep them? Just because sometimes they really come in handy. There we go. Now I'm going to lock it in place. So let's go ahead and trim this. Unlock it. There we go. So now I've got that 1/2 sheet that I wanted. What I want is this. Look what happens when I put the cardstock underneath. I can then see those marks. So we need to adhere that. I don't want that on there permanently, so I'm going to use the Dotto repositionable tape adhesive. Love this stuff. Stampin' Up! Used to carry it. I still have the original container. They discontinued a long time ago, and so since then I've had to pick up refills on Amazon, and I'll have a link in case you'd like to get that because I love it, love it, love it. So now all we want to do is place this on here so we can see our marks. And then we can take it off whenever we want because that adhesive is repositionable, and then the dots will rub off. Look how easy that it is now to see our markings. So now let's try again. Okay, so this is, we'll start on this side. This is 4 inches wide, so we want to subtract 1/2 inch. And you could write this down And if that makes it easier. So now hold this up, the cutting blade, place it. Do you see how it's pointing right at that 1/2 inch mark? Perfect. Now let's cut down to a 1/2 inch from the other side. So this is 5 3/4. So it's a little bit of math, but really it's easy. You could just back off, you know, 1/2 inch. You can see you're at 5 1/4. We want to go to 4 3/4, and we're trusting completely that point right there. Perfect. So pick it up. Now let's rotate it. Now we know we already have our measurements, right? Because 5 1/4, we back it off. So if we start at 5 1/4, we back it up 1/4 inch, back it off another 1/4 inch, 4 3/4. We're going to be using these same numbers over and over, however we line it up on here or where we start cutting. But the first cut, we'll always put that at 1/2 inch. All right, so it's pointing at that. Hopefully I'm right on it. You know, when you're doing this, you kind of get over top. But if I do that, you won't be able to see what I'm doing because my head will be there. So we're pointing at the 1/2 inch. And now this time we want to go to, because it's 4 inches, to 3 1/2. So we're going to pull this down till we get to that 1/2 inch mark. I love that we don't have to guess, that we can trust that. Turn it again, 90 degrees, one turn. So we're back to our 3 1/2. Do you see how we're using those same numbers over and over? 3 1/2, whoops, hold it in place. It is really important that you butt up against here to keep things square. When possible, we couldn't on that other. Pick it up. After it's on the 1/2 inch mark, then we can down, and we're going to, what are we going to do? Yep, 4 3/4. Yeah. All right, one more turn. Look at that. So 4 3/4. Our 1/2 inch mark. Oh, it just moved. Let me put that back where it belongs. There we go. Down, and then to 3 1/2. Really very easy. Very easy to do, and it's something you could work out ahead of time if that's not, you know, as easy for you measurements. But look, now you can do 2 different things with this. I just love the Stampin' trimmer, and at that point we can just totally trust. I mean, you could create a frame, but for us, what we're going to do is we have this, okay, and this is the Shaded Spruce New, and then we'll layer this again. So we need to pay attention to our orientation. There we go. And then we place this over top. This continues on to there. It looks so cool. Oh my gracious. So let me show you the finished card. All excited. There we go. So you could turn it the other way. I started off like this, but then my greeting, I wanted, isn't that beautiful? If flowers were hugs, I'd send you 1,000. Well, that's from the Garden Impressions stamp set. Crazy about this stamp set, my favorite bundle in the 2018-2019 catalog. And remember, I told you I wanted to save that piece at the bottom. Well, there are the extra little flowers. I just used my paper snips to trim those out. So we have the full flower there and the leaves. So my paper snips, very nice pair of scissors that make it really easy to do this kind of trimming. So this is popped up with a Stampin' Dimensional as well as this layer. But you see my leaves are going off onto this layer. Well, I needed some support underneath it. And the Stampin' Dimensionals are so cool. You can see how it just gives, it's an easy way to give your card a lift. These are these foam adhesive dots. But under my leaves, they're really tiny. I use the baby, they call them mini, I think they should have been called baby, Stampin' Dimensionals. I put one under each one so it's not falling and it has that support, and it just looks oh so sharp. So I'll have a link to my blog post with all the measurements for this card, but look how easy it is to sit there and make your own 2-layer cards with the Stampin' trimmer when you trust the point on the cutter. Easy, easy, easy. And you'll be using this for other things now that you know how to do that, because sometimes you just really do want a frame. There you go. Beautiful and easy to make double layer cards with one sheet of background paper. All the supplies to make my Garden Impressions card are listed under the video and available to order now in my online store, www.shopwithshelly.com. And if you'd like to get even more of my stamping tips, well, I invite you to subscribe to the Stampers Insider. It's your free stamping source for inspiration, information, and ideas. Just go now to www.thestampersinsider.com to subscribe. I'm Shelley Godby, teaching you how to create hand stamp smiles. Thanks for watching.